Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a school system is being forced to let staff go as it faces a huge deficit. And officials say flood recovery efforts are well underway, but that most projects will be long-term.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning and a happy Wednesday to you. My name is Amelia Lee here with you on this March 19th and the time is 6:30 this morning, which does mean it is time to check on in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall. And Megan, we've had some warmer temperatures. I know you said maybe it'll be a little bit warm today, but then we see that drop off once we hit spring.
We sure do. So take advantage of the warmer temperatures today. You're not going to need your jacket as you head into the afternoon. Now, this morning is a different story, however, and let's talk about it, right? Here's a look at satellite and radar as you're heading out the door. We're really going to see some cloudy skies today, and that will continue all day long. So this morning, expect those cloudy skies and really just expect them as you continue into the afternoon, too, with these temperatures. We're really looking at 50s and 60s, believe it or not, as you're traveling more towards the west. 61 for Monticello and Jacksboro, as well as Irvin. And as you're traveling more towards the east, that's where it gets a little bit chillier. 36 degrees right now in Grundy and Jonesville. And here's a look at those afternoon temperatures. We're really going to see them ramp up into the 70s and, yes, chances for 80s as you're traveling towards Prestonsburg, Logan, Pikeville, and Grundy. Here's a look at how we'll get to the high temperature for today. Really starting to see the temperatures increase around noon, getting to about 77 degrees by 4 p.m. and 78 by 5 p.m. Again, seeing cloudy skies all day long and a chance of rain popping up as you're heading into the overnight hours and into tomorrow. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan. Well, the U.S. Department of Immigration, Customs and Enforcement, or ICE, says it's detained more than 80 people who are illegally inside the U.S. in Kentucky. Those arrests happened between March 10th and March 14th. 25 people are charged with criminal offenses, including illegal re-entry, possession of firearms, or possession of controlled substances. 56 others are being held in an ICE detention facility while awaiting immigration proceedings. An Eastern Kentucky woman who worked as a dispatcher is set to appear in court today. Police arrested Rebecca Fletcher last month. She was accused of shoplifting items at Walmart stores in Prestonsburg and Paintsville. After police issued arrest warrants, they took Fletcher into custody at her home before taking her to the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. New protections and measures will soon be in place in the Commonwealth to help protect people from sextortion. Governor Andy Beshear signed Senate Bill 73 into law last week. Under the new law, sextortion becomes a felony. People who commit the crime would also be charged with homicide if the victim commits suicide. The FBI says sextortion led to an alarming number of deaths by suicide. Police believe Kentucky teen Elijah Heacock of Glasgow, who recently died from suicide, may have been extorted online.
It will save lives. It's also going to reduce suffering and empower a very, very vulnerable base of victims.
The new law also establishes regulations to educate students and parents. And a reminder this morning, if you or a loved one is struggling with mental health, you can call the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline for help. On Friday, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that would cut back the functions of several governmental entities. One of those expected to reduce its performance is the Institute of Museum and Library Services. With changes on the horizon, Madison Carmouche asked parents what the library means to their family.
I think people underestimate how many people use their public libraries. We have more public libraries in this country than we do McDonald's.
Lexington Public Library Executive Director Heather Diefenbach says the Kentucky Department for Archives and Library Services uses federal funding to help libraries pay for the internet access they provide patrons.
This is a very, very small part of the federal budget, a tiny amount of money in the whole federal budget, but it makes a big, big impact on local communities.
Candace Cottle
will watch you do it.
Is one of the many parents who appreciate the intelligence the library provides for their children.
And to see what else she's interested in that I would not have thought to introduce her to, but we come to the library, we come for free, and we get introduced to some really cool stuff.
Another mom who enjoys the resources is Sally Rucker. She says the public library was a part of her childhood she's always enjoyed sharing.
Then as we got older and we're kind of babysitting other kids, we would take them to the library. So it's just nice to see that full circle, you know, utilizing those public resources that are available to everybody for free.
Diefenbach says she worries less about how Lexington will adjust, but about the kinds of cuts libraries in rural counties will need to make.
We work very hard to make sure everything that we do makes an impact in our community.
In Lexington, Madison Carmouche, WKYT.
Diefenbach says one example of the funding at use is $10,000 allocated to Jackson County for a bookmobile. In Madison County, dozens of job cuts are set to happen this fall within Berea Independent Schools. District leaders say this is because of a projected deficit of more than $3 million across the district. Superintendent Dr. Diane Hatchett says they made the choice to slash jobs after evaluating the situation with the Kentucky Department of Education. In total, 5.5 middle school positions and 8.5 high school positions will be cut.
It's not impersonal. They're not a number. They matter. You know, they matter to our kids. They matter to each one of us, and we do care.
The superintendent says several of the positions being cut were created during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the cuts are also a way to return to pre-COVID staffing. More than 1 month after the February flood, officials in Pike County are discussing the ongoing cleanup efforts, saying it will be a long road to recovery. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has the latest.
Over 600 individual assessments have been done, 22 homes destroyed, more than 300 substantially damaged, and those numbers are going to go up.
Pike County officials are discussing the area's ongoing flood recovery efforts as homes, businesses, and entire communities work to rebuild and reclaim the place they call home.
This is not the first time it's happened, but this is the worst one we've had since 1984.
Judge Executive Ray Jones says the to-do list is long, from debris removal to road repair, but the county is working with its partners and bringing in more help to make sure everything is done as quickly and efficiently as possible, including plans to rebuild more than 10 bridges that were fully wiped out by the February floodwater.
This work is too massive, and we have communities that are still trapped, like the Middle Elk community. We've got to get that bridge rebuilt. Some of these bridges are going to be extremely expensive. The Middle Elk Bridge probably will be $750,000 or more just for that one bridge.
Officials say the work requires a lot of hands on deck, but also comes with a lot of red tape, saying there has been no true guidance from a federal level to help the county ensure its repairs will be reimbursed by FEMA, so they have to be calculated with every step.
Just to get through the FEMA bureaucracy, it's a nightmare. It just makes recovery from these events so difficult.
He says though there is a lot of focus on picking up the pieces, long-term recovery will be a long-term effort.
There are a lot of different areas that have different needs in terms of how do we prevent this.
In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
FEMA is still on site at the Belfry Library and the Pikeville Library and in the traveling station, helping folks apply for funding. 2 lost Wolf County hikers were rescued by officials using a locator device on Monday. The hikers called for help after getting lost on the Osborne Trail at the Red River Gorge. That's when a locator link was sent to their phones so crews could walk them back to the trailhead. Crews gave directions remotely while watching them on the map. Units say the hikers reached the trailhead safely around 8:30 Monday night. Crews also helped a hiker at the gorge yesterday afternoon that fell over a cliff in the Whistling Arch area. A tree stopped her fall, preventing a much more serious incident.
Current temperatures are kind of varied depending on where you're located in the region. We're seeing 50s and 60s for our western counties, and as you're traveling more towards the east, well, that's where we're going to see 30s and 40s. Now, as we head into the afternoon, everyone will start to see those warmer temperatures as we're getting into the 70s for today. Seeing the mid 70s as you're traveling more towards the southwest, seeing upper 70s and low 80s as you're traveling towards the northeast. 81 degrees for Prestonsburg and 81 for Logan. Here's what look at that satellite radar this morning, seeing cloudy skies. We'll really stay with mostly cloudy for majority of your day. And as you travel a little bit more towards the northwest, that's the system that will bring us rainfall as you're heading into tonight. So we're going to watch that as that tracks more towards our region. Here's a look at that bus stop forecast as you're heading out the door, mainly looking in the 50s on the way to school. But by the time you head home, you can expect the mid to upper 70s with mostly cloudy skies. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan. Students helping students. The University of Kentucky's dentistry program was at Martha Jane Potter Elementary in Letcher County yesterday, making kids smile. WYMT's McKinley Calandrino was there.
Learning, smiles, and lots of laughter filled the Martha Jane Potter Elementary Gymnasium as students with UK's College of Dentistry hosted their Seal Kentucky event. Every year, Dr. Ron Singer brings first-year students to practice skills on real patients in underserved communities, bringing smiles and benefits for everyone.
Very beneficial for the dental students, and I think an incredible opportunity for the children that are here to be treated right here in their own school.
At UK, they stress the importance of outreach, and helping rural areas may encourage students to travel back after they finish school to make a difference where they are needed.
The experience is twofold, is the learning experience and really getting them into environments and kind of seeing what kind of the needs are in Kentucky.
Such as dental student Kara Mitchell, who sees the need and hopes her classmates do too.
So that's what I'm hopeful for, is that they get this experience in this rural community with these patients in need, and they grow a bigger heart for it, and they want to go back and they want to do more in the community. And I think that that's really the impact of all of it.
But they say the most important part is the children and breaking the fear of dentists while they are young.
It's a really neat thing to see a kid come in your chair and he's nervous and he's not talking and he's never even seen a dentist before, and then, you know, we're picking, we're laughing, we're playing.
And for little Ariana, that was exactly the case, coming into the gym with a frown and leaving with a pearly white smile and laughter.
Did you have fun?
When I go to the dentist again, I'll just come back.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And no matter their age, the learning, growing, and sharing smiles will continue from the UK Dental Program. In Letcher County, McKinley Calandrino, WYMT Mountain News.
Officials with the UK Dental Program say they have been doing this for about 25 years, and it's brought great exposure to the dental students. Well, thank you for joining us at 6:41. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. There are new guidelines to verify eligibility for a Social Security check, but some critics say it could be a slippery slope to more restrictions.